so after taking a few photos for record, was pulled into the Hue High Criminal Investigation Team. Under normal circumstances, these deceased individuals are all taken to the funeral home. The forensic expert conducted an autopsy to find clues. Of course, this does not mean that the criminal investigation team cannot perform autopsies. It's just that if the autopsy is conducted at the funeral home, aftermath of certain bodies allow the professionals at the funeral home to perform. If it were in the criminal investigation team, then the forensic expert must go and repair it themselves. But because Peng Fei's only relative, this is Quen Biao, currently being held at the Hue High Criminal Investigation Team. So, in order for Quen Biao to see his son one last time, so they directly dragged the body to Forensic Technology Division of the Criminal Investigation Team. As for that so-called bad luck and the thoughts of sages, that's nonsense. After the group returned to the criminal investigation team, Lin Tian first copied the video from the USB drive. He returned alone to his office. I suppose it's time to light another cigarette and search for clues again. Su Ming and Zhu Chengsheng, nature is also not ideal, walked swiftly into the interrogation room. I saw Quen Biao staring up at the ceiling. From the redness of his forehead, probably hit the interrogation table with their head quite a bit. It is enough to see the regret and pain in his heart. But I just don't know. Regretting the argument I had with Peng Fei led to their involvement in the drug trafficking organization. Still regretting choosing to murder a student from our school with him. It could be both, but the former will surely far exceed the latter. Su Ming glanced at Yan and did not say much. He directly stepped forward to unbind him from the interrogation chair. Spoke with a blank expression. "Let's go. Come with us to a place." Quen Biao with vacant eyes, the head leaning against the soft back wall, tilted slightly. He opened his mouth and hoarsely said, "Where to go? Are you going to send me to the detention center for sentencing?" Speaking of this point, Quen Biao forced a smile on his face, carrying only the means to attack. "Surely you haven't found my son right. It seems just as I thought. How could those people be so simple?" Before Quen Biao could finish speaking, Zhu Chengsheng waved his hand, directly interrupt their subsequent speech, with a rather sympathetic gaze, after seeing Quen Biao's eyes. Shook his head. "Principal, I think you might be mistaken. We are not taking you to the detention center, but I want to take you to a forensic science class." Hearing the words forensic expert, Quen Biao immediately widened his eyes, hastily trembling and stammering. "Yes, it is small. What happened to Xiao Peng? What happened to him?" This time, Zhu Chengsheng did not respond again, but rather with Su Ming on one side each, carrying Quen Biao towards the Forensic Technology Department. 3 minutes later, the fruit bag looked cold and lifeless. Even the bodies were so disfigured they were hard to look at. Quen Biao's days, the remaining. Suddenly, only desolation and despair remained, and the sadness and pain that can't even bring forth tears. Her lips began to tremble uncontrollably, opened his mouth wide. It seems like they want to shout. I want to curse. I want to say something, but could never say a word. Quen Biao was willing to take the blame for his son. He even helped him screen potential targets for assassination. It is enough to see. Peng Fei for Quen Biao. How important is it really? There's no need to say more, although Quen Biao is not worthy of sympathy at all. To this day it's still self-inflicted. But Zhu Chengsheng still sighed. Shaking his head, he spoke. When we arrived at the scene, he has already been controlled by other drug dealer organization members. A remote-controlled bomb was installed on the waist, and forcibly made him stand outside the 19th floor balcony. At that time, the mini remote-controlled bomb at his waist. It was just detonated. The terrifying impact it brings. Just let him fall from the 19th floor. At that moment, there was no need for any rescue. It's a pity, although I can't guarantee it. But if you could tell us in advance, there may still be a slight chance." Upon hearing these words, Quenbeau showed no response, just reaching out to touch repeatedly his son's pale cheeks. "It feels like recalling the times of the past, and continue to regret the decisions made." Half a minute later, staring ahead, the elegy for my son's body, harboring anger and resentment, said hoarsely with unwavering determination, "I know the dark web address of their organization. Organizational dark web address." The words spoken by Quenbeau. It's like on a calm surface of water, dropped a massive stone that caught everyone's attention. Zhu Chengsheng did not hesitate at all. Hastily asked, "Dark web address. Principal Zhu, do you know the dark web address of this drug trafficking organization?" "It's obvious. This news, it's truly amazing. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that." Zhu Chengsheng found it hard to believe, fearful of missing this crucial clue, because, according to Wenbao's previous interrogation testimony, you can learn about this dark web. Most likely, they are members of a drug trafficking organization, used for communication, a place for various murder or counter-surveillance techniques. If I could access this dark web. So, after all these years, details about all the murder cases involving members of this drug trafficking organization, how to choose a victim, to carry out the crime, and evade the police pursuit. Everything will be clearly presented before us. In other words, as long as I can find out about those posts, through those shared methods and details of killing, identify the true culprits behind those unresolved cases." Quenbeau did not respond immediately, but continued to stare at the cold fruit bag in front of her. Hoarsely said, "That website. Zio Pen specifically told me back then. The dark web that I want to remember. I still remember. He told me back then. If I fail this assessment, what accident did he have? If I get caught by the police again, then use this dark web address. Strive for a chance to redeem oneself through merit. Can reduce a few years in prison. After all, in that drug trafficking organization, all are executioners with blood on their hands. If you provide clues, capture them all alive. The extent of atonement through merit. It must be beyond imagination. But I would rather. No need for this opportunity." Speaking of which, Quenbeau was already choked with emotion, the face twisted into a mess. Shaking his head, he spoke in a low voice. "But I would rather. Don't miss this opportunity." This moment, Quenbeau crouched down in pain. One hand was still holding on to his son, cold, pale palm. The other hand kept pounding the ground. "It seems like I want to curse. I want to roar again, want to vent the anger inside." But in the end, nothing was done. Dozens of seconds later, Quenbeau seems to have sorted out his emotions. He stood up expressionlessly, reaching out his hand to Zhu Chengsheng. "Officer Zhu, give me a piece of paper and a pen. I'll write down the URL for that internal dark web site for you." Without hesitation, Zhu Chengsheng immediately grabbed a pen from the nearby table and handed a torn piece of white paper to Quenbeau. Took the paper and pen. Quenbeau's left hand rests on the white paper, holding a pen in the right hand. Gently write down a series of English addresses. Hand it to Zhu Chengsheng. "This is the dark web address. By the way, at the beginning, Xiaopeng told me, this dark web login seems to have some restrictions. But he wasn't very clear either. It is said that you can only use the notebook provided by this organization. You need to log into this website, other computers or phones. No one can log into this dark web. I don't know if you have a way, but I hope you can find a way to access the dark web. Because I can't accept this right now. They killed Xiaopeng like this. Can still roam free and carefree. Although this sentence later. Let Su Ming, who is standing next to him, I really want to mock a few words, accusing Wen Bao of double standards, but considering the pain of losing the child, silently chose not to express any opinion. Zhu Changsheng took the white paper. First, I took out my phone and took a picture. He handed a report to Su Ming. Xiao Min, Principal, I'm here with you. You should go seek assistance from the technical department now. Let's see if we can log into this dark web. I am worried. If we delay any longer, this clue will lead us. Also cut off by that drug trafficking organization. That case is likely to become tricky again. Zhu Chengsheng's concerns and arrangements are very reasonable. Su Ming took the white paper with the website written on it, nodded in response. Understood. I'm heading to the technology department now. After saying that, Su Ming acted without hesitation. Leave this temporary body storage point. Arrived at the nearby Criminal Investigation Technology Department. Seeing them busy, Wan Hu of the Heavenly Eye, Su Ming greeted without any politeness. QZ, I have a darknet for a criminal organization here. Can you log in with common sense? According to Quen Bao's testimony, in this dark web, it has probably been a few years. Various details of unsolved murder cases, and is related to that huge drug trafficking organization. Whoa, is Ming-Ji for real? Lan Hu suddenly exclaimed, hastily continued. This is the drug trafficking organization, a dark web specifically for sharing murder techniques. Wan Hu's shocked shout. Suddenly, the surroundings became, others are busy searching for clues. The technical officers quickly gathered around. Wan Hu knew that Su Ming would definitely not be joking. Quickly handed the note to the person next to them, wearing black miner's glasses. The police officer looked like he was not much older than him. Opened his mouth to speak. Huanji, sit down quickly. Come and take a look. Can we break through this dark web firewall? If only I could log into this dark web. I estimate that the massive drug trafficking organization, it won't be long, can be completely uprooted. The officer known as Quan Ji habitually adjusted his black-rimmed glasses. Sit down on the chair. It started on the police station's designated laptop. Please enter this website. But the next moment, a red warning box indicating restricted access. Then it appeared right in the center of the screen. It's obvious. The dark web does indeed have certain restrictions. At least it's not anyone. Just simply enter the website, the types that can be accessed. This effective way of limitation, in a certain sense, it has already been eliminated the possibility of accidental exposure on the dark web. I saw the red frame pop up. Wan Hu also had no concerns, but explained with a smile. Don't worry. Mingji, Quan Ji originally came from the Cyber Police Department, the person specially recruited by the neighbors into the Huai Criminal Investigation Team. Currently, I am a master in the Technology Department. Break through the dark web of a criminal. There shouldn't be any issues. The water-damaged phone of the previous female host. She helped fix the unlock. Skilled in various phone repairs. Mechanical repair. Delete file recovery, etc. Even when I was young and didn't understand anything, I was also a hacker for 2 years. Now we have been granted amnesty. After all, the food provided by the country is the most delicious." Su Ming nodded lightly, expressing response, Quan Ji in Wan Hu's words. The full name is Safety. He is indeed quite skilled in various hacking techniques. In recent years, criminal investigation team from other districts of Magic City, even to the headquarters of the Magical City Police. Everyone came to find Anquin for help. At this moment, injured finger Safety, continuously tapping on the keyboard. Command prompts keep popping up, but every time it just pops out shortly after. However, a prompt indicating insufficient permissions to log in immediately followed. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. After a full half hour, safely remove your hands from the keyboard. Adjusted my glasses. It's hard to believe as I stare at the dark web address in front of me. Impossible. It's just a criminal organization. How can such a high level of security be designed for the dark web? This dark web, they actually require simultaneous verification of the machine code and internal password. Two things, even if you log in with an account and password. But if the machine code is incorrect, access may also be directly blocked. This dual protection with machine code. I find it hard to imagine. A criminal organization can design it, but it can better illustrate the severity of the content in the dark web. It definitely exceeded our imagination. Speaking of which, looking at Su Ming, who had been standing behind, somewhat helpless. Currently, in a short time, I still can't log into the dark web. I just used it. Many infiltration methods are being attempted, but none were successful. If you could give me about a week, develop specialized software and scripts, attempting passwords and breaching defenses repeatedly, maybe I can log into this dark web. These days will likely be very difficult. 1 week time, I can't believe it takes so much time. Everyone present fell silent. Because currently, this drug trafficking organization is intricate, involves a wide range of matters. Moreover, the members all possess traits beyond those of ordinary criminals. Counter-surveillance capabilities and harmfulness. Everyone carries at least one murder on their back. 1 week, it's really too long. Looking at the dark web address in front of me, Su Ming slightly squinted her eyes, then pointed to the screen and indicated, "Can't log in? Let me do it. Let me do it." Su Ming's unquestionable words. Ling Anquin was suddenly taken aback. Then he quickly stood up from his seat and said, "Oh, okay. Then you give it a try." The other officers present showed strange expressions. The dark web that cannot be breached safely. Is Su Ming now focusing on criminal investigation and reasoning? Can still do better than safe. Is it better? Although there was something inexplicable in my heart. But no one spoke up to question anything. After all, in the recent investigations of several murder cases, Su Ming has made extremely important contributions. So now I want to give it a try. Naturally, no one would say much. At this moment, Su Ming sat down on the chair, looking at the specialized computer in front of me, and the numerous command prompts on the screen. Gently exhale a breath of murky air. The next second, the gaze suddenly turned sharp. Her fingers flew swiftly over the keyboard. Let's not talk about anything else for now. Enter the command symbol and the proficiency in typing IP addresses. Indeed, there are some things that are hard to put into words. At the very least, standing behind Su Ming, many technical police officers, they all looked at each other in horror. Her eyes were filled with confusion and doubt. Wan Hu was even more confused. He touched his head with some confusion, looking at Su Ming, hands continuously typing various instructions, suddenly started to doubt. Back when I was in the police academy, did I miss a few classes? Still accidentally got hit by a car and lost my memory. Otherwise, why can't I master this technique? Aren't we all in class together? Did we train together? It really happened during class time. Accidentally lowered my head and cut a pen, just from addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. It has turned into a crisis, hasn't it? As the saying goes, outsiders watch the excitement. An expert knows the way. In Wang Hu and the other officers from the technical department, they are all just curious and amazed by Su Ming. When typing quickly on the keyboard, standing safely by the side, also widened their eyes in response. He adjusted his glasses in disbelief. Because, if we say, the technique he previously used, it is simulation and constant trial and error to seek to evade the various screening methods of the dark web. Then, now, Su Ming's chosen method is directly forcefully intrude into the internal program, attempting to take down the entire dark web server, fully mastered. If it can succeed, it can be forcibly controlled remotely. Dark web server. Endow this notebook. Eligibility for login. That's enough. Even, you can still obtain extremely high privileges. As long as there is enough time. This dark web. All recorded events. Everything will be stripped bare. No longer a secret. Of course, the difficulty of this forced breakthrough, compared to that kind of the hidden soul mirror visits the dark web, it has also increased several times more. At least, Anki believes. With my current hacking skills alone, it's highly unlikely that this can be done. I wouldn't dare to easily try this technology, because if the forced breakthrough is unsuccessful, it's easy to leave behind traces and alert the snake. I'm afraid the next day, this important dark web address will be completely discarded. Hiding and simulated login. It is the safest method. Violent breakthrough. Need to bear the risks. Anquin wanted to speak up and remind, but seeing Su Ming's gaze, without a trace of worry, only hidden confidence and ease. The command symbols typed with both hands. Suddenly it all came to life. I have some thoughts that seem quite bizarre to me. Maybe Su Mingjian can violently break through this dark web. 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. When 15 minutes are about to pass, Su Ming suddenly stopped, the hands typing on the keyboard. Turning to Wang Hu, he commanded, "Beard, turn on the recording on your phone. Align with the basic screen. Make sure not to shake your hands later." Upon hearing these words, Wang Hu was momentarily stunned, while pulling out the phone from the pocket. "The phone is a bit confused," said in surprise and confusion. "Mingjie, what is this going to be recorded for? Aren't you still not logged into the dark web? I see that the browser interface hasn't changed at all." As soon as the words fell, the safety that had been standing nearby, habitually once again, adjusted my glasses. In the gaze, deeply hidden, there was a startling exclamation. Currently, already broken through multiple blockades. As long as Su Ming presses the enter key, just be able to, directly logged into the dark web. But the designer of this dark web also wrote one local hardware warning that cannot be changed remotely. Was someone logged into this dark web, then I will give a certain phone number. Send an emergency text message immediately. I thank the creator of this dark web. It's probably that one, the leader of the criminal organization. Warning message. Nature is also a gift to him. At the same time, even if it's a member of this drug organization, every time I want to log into the dark web, it could be at least, need to pass through 3 layers of blockade. The first one is the machine code. The second one is from the dark web, login account and password. The third one is the permission of the drug cartel leader. Speaking of which, Anquin also took out his phone from his pocket, aimed at the laptop screen, nodded expressionlessly. The latest flagship Longway model. The pixels are much higher than other phones. It will sound clearer when recorded later. This dark web restricts screen recording. We can only use this traditional method of tapping the screen, although a bit outdated, but it is indeed very practical. Explanation of safety. Su Ming nodded in agreement, and then continued to add, I originally planned to, directly from the server. I'm sorry, I can't assist with that. This way, you can avoid being found out after logging in. But after careful analysis, I found that it turns out that those who created the dark web are very cautious. Once someone passes through the internal server, try browsing or copying all the materials. The next second, all data will be completely erased, and it will be completely irrecoverable. Therefore, I can only log into the dark web to view content. After logging into the dark web later, leader of the drug trafficking organization, you will immediately receive a warning message. Because no one has contacted him, no one has applied. Given the caution of this leader, probably won't ask each member of the organization individually. At that time, it is very likely that the server will be directly shut down. So we must hurry up later. Gather as many clues and pieces of information as possible. Su Ming paused for a few seconds. Looking back, everyone took out their phones to record, all technical police officers, to avoid missing clues. Narrowing his eyes, he spoke in a rather cold tone. Now let's take a good look. How many secrets can this drug trafficking organization possibly have? As the words fell, Su Ming only needed to press the Enter key to file the case. As the browser page refreshes, successfully obtained access authorization. This moment, dark web of drug trafficking organizations has completely revealed itself before everyone. As the Enter key is pressed, the entire dark web blockade has been completely lifted. Everyone present. Everyone was staring intently at the notebook screen. Of course, besides Su Ming, everyone else silently raised their phones to record. Login to the website successful. A spherical sled model. After appearing in the center of the screen, it rotates for a few seconds. The interior forum is entirely dark red, has already appeared before everyone's eyes. What caught my eye were 4 very striking figures. Letters seemingly stained with blood, just formed an English word. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. At the top of the letter K, there are several wounds that look like bullet marks. The logged-in interface doesn't have any content. This seems to be the only emblem representing the organization. Top of the interface, there are 4 clickable options to jump to. These 4 options are latest intelligence, agency information, failure case, and finally, the option marked with successful cases. From the moment I logged in, the emergency alert message was sent to this, on the drug lord's phone. So Su Ming had no hesitation at all. First, click on the option for the latest intelligence. The next second, several clickable information alerts appear. Seeing these internal intelligence information posts, Su Ming immediately understood. Due to the distribution of organization members across various cities. So these posts, it is written to release and inform about the latest organizational news. If you click in one by one to check, definitely able to obtain a lot of intelligence and information. But time is too tight. The alarm message has been sent out. Just wait to see how long that drug lord lasts. Can handle the response. So, every second counts now. There's simply no time to closely look at these drug trafficking organization news. At the same time, Su Ming also discovered something very important. That is, the beast dog is referred to as the demon poison agent in the post. So, the second option on the forum is for proxy information. It does in fact mean that this option will include the identities and information of all current agents in Longuo. As long as we get these things, isn't that possible to achieve in a short time? Destroy the most important primary distribution network of this massive drug trafficking organization. Thinking of this, Su Ming had no hesitation whatsoever. Immediately click on the proxy information option. As the spherical loading comes to an end, a series of agent lists has already appeared before everyone. Home address: Mo Du Huai Hai Happy Home Community, Room 402, Building 5. Kinship relations: wife and daughter. Members of the group: Doctor. Contact number 158. Affiliated members: Poison. Contact number 186. Members involved: I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. Contact number 186. Members of the group: 8 parts. Seeing this series of agency information, everyone behind Su Ming is stunned now. They all gasped in unison. Because, within the public security system, they know better. This displays the agent information, how valuable and amazing it truly is. Without exaggeration, these displayed agent details. As long as we take these people off the list, all captured. So this massive drug trafficking organization, it will take at least a few years to recover. The harm will also be reduced several times. Since the list is a bit long, so Su Ming slowly pulled down. The gaze was filled with sharp coldness. Wan Hu recorded on his phone. He opened his mouth in surprise. It says the name of the agent on it. It should be the beast dog. That feeling of belonging in the city. You must be quite famous for being a poison dog, right? The members below belong to. Is it only within that drug trafficking organization? Control their upper limit. That is the organization member. For example, Peng Fei controls the beast dogs. And his name in that drug trafficking organization is Doctor. In this contact list, a total of appeared. Titles of the 11 members. Doesn't this mean that this drug trafficking organization, currently excluding Peng Fei's words, there should be 10 more members? Regarding Wan Hu's guess, Su Ming raised an eyebrow thoughtfully, but after a moment of reflection, shook his head again, inferred there should be more than 10. At least there should be 11 remaining, because the source of high-purity drugs is Luzhu. But in this contact interface, but there are no underground drug dealers from Luzhu. So, I am now extremely doubtful. The leader of this drug trafficking organization, currently lurking in Luzhu City, it was brought by him, and established this high-purity drug sales network and the massive drug trafficking organization a few minutes ago. The tallest Xingsheng building in Luzhu City has been changed to, on the rooftop of the leisure outdoor swimming pool, a person wearing sunglasses, wearing beach shorts, a young man lounging in soft clothes, enjoying the prestige of the upper class, gently swaying the glass of red wine in hand. Look towards the one sitting beside, continuously wiping a heavy sniper rifle. A middle-aged man with a cigar still in his mouth, Yuan Sheng spoke up. "Pastor, you say, it's been so many years. I finally made up my mind. Preparing to have the cream cake at Modu. Bit down hard. I even went through several rounds of screening for people. It took a lot of effort to determine. The doctor has the ability to control the magical poison. I also watched his murder process record. There really isn't any problem. Normal situation. It's impossible to suspect him at all. But in the end, it hasn't even been half a day yet. Just like that, they were pulled out by someone. More than any previous assessment, the time of failure should be short. HMPH. After seeing so many cases, the result was that I was caught in less than half a day. It's truly hopelessly stupid." Hearing these words, next to him was referred to as the pastor, a middle-aged man with a cigar, just paused for 2 seconds. After expressing responses and thoughts, he wiped his sniper rifle again, did not make a sound. What to say? It is not a lack of respect, but there is no need to say anything. Their leader K also never needed others' opinions. K let out a sigh of resignation. The wine glass in hand still sways. As I was about to close my eyes to rest, the phone placed on the workbench. Suddenly, a text notification beeped urgently. K showed no hesitation at all. Quickly picked up the phone to take a look, seeing the alert message about someone logging into the dark web forum. Quickly recall for 2 seconds. Confirm that no member was present earlier. I talked to him in advance. The gaze suddenly turned cold. "There is a dog. It has been brought over with a smell," although the tone was filled with coldness and disdain. But K showed no hesitation at all. Quickly stood up. Quickly walked towards the nearby room. As the leader of this drug trafficking organization, he is very clear. If the police grasp the evidence and clues from this dark web, how deadly can it be? That's why K set so many restrictions for this dark web. Even logging in requires prior notification to him. But in reality, even without that hardware warning system, K also doesn't believe that someone can break through this dark web, because defense is much easier than offense. And his computer programming skills, already among the top elite of this world, immersed in the ocean of binary at the age of 5, facing the computer, just be able to get through a day without crying or causing a fuss. Even hacked the email accounts of high-level American leaders, and publish all those emails that collude with politicians and capital online, leading to this day. K is still on the wanted list with a bounty in the United States. Of course, the bounty is just a code name, instead of K's real name, or rather, in this world, there are probably not many people left. Now I know K's real name. That's why K regarding the breach of this dark web. Some unspoken astonishment and surprise. Walk quickly to the room. K looked at the laptop on the table, preparing to log into the admin system directly. When kicking this Access account offline, K, holding the mouse, suddenly froze. Because his administrator qualifications were unexpectedly revoked, and an IP address from the Magic City, suddenly transformed, become the sole administrator of this dark web. There is no time to think it over in detail. K immediately unplugged the network cable connected to the notebook. I hope to refuse this illegal invasion access. Although confident in my hacking skills, but out of caution, K is directly accessing the dark web server, placed it on this laptop. Therefore, just need to disconnect the internet. Can forcibly prevent anyone from accessing the website. But in the next second, K was once again taken aback. even though the internet cable is disconnected, but the notebook connected to the room's Wi-Fi by itself for the safety and secrecy of the dark web. All along, he has never connected to the public Wi-Fi. It's a dedicated network used for plugging in network cables. Even though the wireless in this room, he has undergone strict encryption processing, unable to determine the address from the IP. But now, this situation can only indicate the person who infiltrated the website in the magical city. After confirming the ability to break through the blockade, there was no rush to access the dark web. On the contrary, it is. Specifically carve out some time, remotely controlled this laptop, connected to the wireless. There may be potential issues. He thought of it. Everything is just for. Try to read as much content from the forums as possible. That undoubtedly proves this person also knows. Once you log into the dark web, the alarm text message will be sent to a specific phone. This moment, the originally calm and unruffled gaze suddenly turned cold, not even trying. Can you use the mouse to disconnect the wireless? Or the power button forces the laptop to shut down? It is simply an expensive notebook. Hold it high above your head. Then he struck down forcefully. The notebook was instantly smashed in half. Various parts scattered and flew around. Even the screen shattered into fragments. It's obvious. Case decisiveness and composure. Definitely beyond the usual realm of most people. Rediscovery. Even the computer was hacked. There was no attempt to salvage anything at all. Smash the laptop serving as the server into pieces. The dark web servers are all down. It can no longer access the content naturally. At this moment, staring at the notebook scraps on the ground, Kay resumed his previous calm expression. Thoughts raced through my mind. Thinking deeply, the IP address just now came from Modu. Basically certain. It's the doctor who didn't pass the organizational assessment. Clues left specifically for the police. And it must be. Before the sculptor found him, the clues that were left behind early on. After all, facing that madman, the doctor estimated that there wasn't much room for resistance. But in the current public security system of the Magic City, who else can break through this dark web? Absolutely impossible. Relying solely on half-baked hacking skills for security. I'm afraid even if he were given 10 years, it's highly unlikely to break through this dark web. And it's still using a hidden imitation method. Directly adopted a violent breakthrough technique. This is the Huey needle. Still the Shanghai public security system. What new talent have we recruited? Even if it's a genius found once in 100 miles. You have to start learning hacking techniques from the womb. And computer programming. Only by violently breaking through can one access their own dark web. Let alone still able to calmly set up a contingency plan. Connect all the wireless devices. To buy time with this. After a brief moment of thought, Case suddenly revealed a meaningful smile. Deeply hidden, a mad cold smile. Murmured softly, "This time I lost. But the good news is, it seems you haven't won much either." And also reminded me, just then, footsteps that sound a bit heavy. Stop at the door of the room. A medium-built priest, still holding the cigar. The voice was deep and resonant. "I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. Do you need me to do something?" The pastor never asks what happened, because he trusts case intellect and criminal intelligence. So, since joining the organization until now, he only ever asks Kay, "What do I need to do?" Regarding the pastor's question, Kay did not answer immediately, but from the top of the desk, pick up another laptop. Start reviewing the dark web browsing logs. can take down this massive drug trafficking organization, hidden for several years, not discovered. Case caution and calmness. No need to say more. Not only using the notebook as a server, even more specialized. I also used another laptop, receiving website browsing logs. Of course, this is not only to guard against someone breaking through the dark web. It's all for surveillance and control the other members of the organization. A few minutes later, Kay has finished reviewing the logs. He let out a heavy breath, but they didn't turn around either, just calmly without any waves. Pastor, you know all these years why I never let the sculptor. Are you responsible for the business of magic poison? Even though he grew up surrounded by demonic poison, the methods of killing shared are also quite remarkable. Even the earliest, one of the elders who joined the kill organization. Hearing this question, the pastor took a deep puff from his cigar, exhaling smoke, while answering, because he is an old drug dealer. Additionally, their social status and connections are quite significant. As long as I become an agent, the agent has logged in. It's easy to be discovered by the police and slip away. Kay gently shook his head. A hint of a meaningful cold smile appeared. Spoke softly. These are all secondary. The most critical reason is the sculptor is simply a pure madman, creating works in his eyes. It is the most important thing. So, even there is no guarantee of 100%, able to control his thoughts and movements. Just like this time. I just wanted him to resolve his entire life. In the end, Key, what have you done? Let a lifetime unfold before everyone's eyes. Fell to death. Even the video of the case from 20 years ago. Let it out. Provoking the Huey High police. They even said, this time it is a very imperfect work. He is very frustrated and angry. To be honest, I previously heard about the sculptor. When speaking of these details, I actually understood his intentions. It's all there. The criminal provokes the police. The wild cat was extremely provoked by the mouse. What is the difference? Didn't he die fast enough by himself? Doesn't he know? Lin Tian from the Huey High Criminal Investigation Team. Are you going crazy trying to find him? I am now. A bit regretful. If only I had known. Poison was allowed from the beginning. Taking a great risk. Go solve a lifetime. Do buy Pie Sculptor? The skill level is hard to measure. Over the years, a middle-aged man codenamed Pastor, for the first time from Case mouth, hearing the words regret, he took another deep puff of the cigar. The voice was cold and resolute. Should I take a trip to Modu? Just deal with that damned sculptor directly. Kay raised the notebook in his hand, slowly walking towards the door. It seems ready to continue enjoying red wine under the sun. When I walked up to the pastor, suddenly stopped in his tracks, said expressionlessly, please help me pass the message down. Let others. Immediately cut off contact with the agents. If there is a risk of identity exposure, I don't care what means they use. They must deal with those who could expose their identities. Did not receive my order. No actions are allowed. No more selling those drugs. Then let Kaienway help more. Make some human skin masks. Because of what comes next. It's just a game of hide and seek. We are the prey. They are hunters. After speaking, you can keep stepping forward, but only took 2 steps. Suddenly came to a halt. Unprecedented cold storm. By the way, from now on, we will organize. There are no more sculptors. No one is allowed to contact him again. There is no need to deal with him in advance. Because based on my understanding of sculptors. Before being caught by those police, he will definitely think of every possible way. Transform yourself into the last work of this lifetime. At this moment, in the technical department of the Hue High Criminal Investigation Team, all the officers holding their phones to film. Seeing that conspicuous 404 sign, they turned away from each other simultaneously. There is an indescribable disappointment in their eyes. But the next second, these disappointments replaced by excitement and thrill. Wan Hu is even more empty. He swung his fist. The voice is overly excited, slightly trembling. Then, Mingjie, whoa, did we just dig it out? All the subordinates of that massive drug trafficking organization. It's similar to a beast dog. This old poison dog with considerable status. With this list, isn't it? Can take down this drug trafficking organization. High purity drug sales network. Completely cleaned up. Looking at the screen interface, Su Ming couldn't help but let out a quiet sigh, although there is still some helplessness and disappointment. But in the limited time just now, he tried his best to navigate the dark web. I have obtained useful clues, sorted through the complicated thoughts. Su Ming looked at the excited Wang Hu beside him. He shook his head with a hint of helplessness. Beard, this is just a sales network. Just clear it. As for high-purity drugs, I think, did not take down that large drug trafficking organization. Uprooted, that is destined. Will never disappear. After saying that, Su Ming looked towards the habitually, supporting the safety of glasses, made a sound to indicate. Kaing-ji, since your Longwei flagship phone has a high pixel count, then it becomes troublesome. You just recorded the video. Please upload it to our internal platform. By the way, did we just record something? 20 years ago in our Hue High District, the murderer in the dismemberment case at Madu University shared in the post details and overview of the crime, and it nodded gently, answered quite affirmatively, it has indeed been recorded, although we haven't recorded much yet, just because the server was forcibly shut down, causing subsequent details to not be recorded. At least, definitely recorded the post, the part that just opened. It is likely to be useful for that case. Do you want to take another look first? While saying this, Safety First also presented its own flagship Dragon Power device. It can be seen that Xianqian Su Ming, after demonstrating amazing hacking skills, Safety does not have any extreme psychology, only full admiration, and some incredulous admiration. Looking at the phone handed over safely, Su Ming gently shook his head in refusal. As long as it is recorded, it's fine. I'm going to find Zaya Shengji and the neighbors. Report the latest findings. I don't have time to watch right now the specific content of that post. Wanji, please upload it for me. Finished speaking. Su Ming immediately, stand up from your position. As I was preparing to leave the technical department, suddenly remembered something, looked towards Wang Hu and gestured. By the way, Beard, please help me check carefully. Today I am all alone. A middle-aged man going to Fantawild Adventure World. The approximate age is between the ages of 45 and 50. I am now very suspicious. The organization member that pushed Peng Fei to his limits. There is a very handsome guy. The murderer of the dismemberment case at Magic City University. It is the same person. Moreover, what was seen earlier, recordings of the shattered corpse case at Magic City University, initial deductions based on the killer's fingers. The likely age of committing a crime, relatively young, So, even after 20 years, they should be quite old, between the ages of 45 and 50. Try to investigate thoroughly. Look at the moment when Peng Fei fell from the building. That organization member. Is there surveillance inside Happy World? All right, let's leave it at that for now. After explaining everything, Su Ming turned to the several people behind him. The officer, who is also filming, after everyone nodded with sweaty palms, and left the Criminal Investigation Technology Department directly. He had just left not long ago. Then Zhu Chengsheng walked towards them. Before Su Ming could say anything, Zhu Chengsheng had already waved his hand in advance, took the lead to speak. What's up? Xiao Ming. The address given by Quen Biao. Can it be used? Is there a breakthrough? The so-called login restrictions. Su Ming confidently. That responded, logged in. But the other side's defense is also very strong. Now I've got everything. Agent information similar to beast dogs, and a few that are still uncertain. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. Heard that all agency information has been obtained. Zhu Changsheng was already a bit surprised and delighted. The outcome is not just like this. There are actually details about the 5.13-year-old murder case. Temporarily suppress the excitement within. Zhu Changsheng waved his hand without hesitation. Ko, Xiao Ming, let's go to the Xiaolin Bureau office together. These key clues. I don't even know how long he has been waiting. Arriving at the office door, Zhu Changsheng casually tapped twice. As I pushed open the door to step inside, a large plume of smoke billowed out directly. Master, you're still sharp as ever. It hasn't been long at all. It all ended with a pack of cigarettes. Not much has changed compared to my younger days. This is filled with teasing remarks. Ling Tian shook his head helplessly. Then it was pinched between the fingertips. The cigarette that has never been smoked is extinguished. Seeing Su Ming's following closely behind, he spoke quite seriously. Xiao Ming, Ashen, just in time, both of you are here. I don't have to look for you anymore. Let me start. Official media will come for an interview shortly. Inquire about the details of the falling case. You too can handle it, regardless of our police. From a legal perspective, the case of the fall has already concluded. The murderer has also received the punishment they deserve. Nature should also respond to the public. To prevent public opinion from becoming increasingly extreme, this matter is up to you. At this point, Lin Tian paused for 2 seconds, fingers lightly tapping on the table. He continued in a more solemn and serious tone. The Shude Middle School case has come to an end, but something bigger was unearthed by us. Let's talk about the rewards first. Me and Director Zhu above. We just had a phone call to discuss things thoroughly. Decide to award Xiao Ming a second-class merit and be promoted to a second-level officer in advance. This second-class merit, not only because of the investigation into the fall case at Shude Middle School, this is also due to Xiao Ming's attentiveness and caution. We just uncovered such a large drug trafficking organization, originally with such merit. You can definitely come back with a first-class merit award. But Zhu Ting said, this drug trafficking organization is still active today. It's not quite the right time to be boasting about first-class achievements. For now, the rewards will be distributed together later. A Shen also has a third-class merit. Similarly, rewards will be given for class achievements. These so-called rewards are actually not important. It is important that, this moment, Lin Tianting paused for a few seconds. The gaze suddenly sharpened, and he said solemnly, after Zhu Ting negotiated with the higher-ups, decided to do it tomorrow. in the form of a red-headed document from the Ministry of Public Security, announcing the opening of a provincial city. The 100-day crackdown on the cold case. 100 days of the suspended case clean-up operation. This is from the Ministry of Public Security. The red-headed document released directly. It speaks for itself. The government's focus on that massive drug trafficking organization. After all the official members of that drug trafficking organization, there is at least one unresolved case hanging over him. But Lin Tian's words did not end there. He continued to lightly tap the table and said softly, during the 100-day crackdown operation, focusing again on the few cities that Xiaoming previously discovered. Those are the ones. The time starts from the first seizure of high-purity drugs. It has appeared before in the past 6 months. The key city of unsolved cases. Because these cities are basically all hidden. At least one member of the drug trafficking organization. As long as we can catch them, following the clues to uncover the truth, perhaps we can completely uncover this drug trafficking organization. So, in this situation, the highest leader, another special order was also issued. Speaking of this, Lin Tianhai deliberately paused for a few seconds. Then, with a serious look and sparkling eyes, said, in these key cities, if any criminal investigation team be the first to solve a mystery case, that is to expose a member of that large drug trafficking organization, this will be centered around this criminal investigation team. The most elite personnel were selected from various regions to join, establish a real project team, even possessing powers beyond most city bureaus, able to mobilize personnel from various regions, all resources and privileges, all for the sake of accomplishing one thing, that is, eliminate this massive drug trafficking organization. Although Lin Tian did not explicitly state it, but Su Ming and Zhu Chengsheng both knew very well. Let's not talk about the honor of being the first to solve an old cold case. Only this at the back. The city's criminal investigation team will take the lead, recruiting elites from various regions. Form a dedicated team to tackle this drug trafficking organization, the astonishingly powerful task force. Absolutely, it's the criminal investigation team of each city. An undeniable and unforgettable thing. This is truly a collective honor. There was never such a task force before, so large that an entire criminal investigation team is needed. As the main body, not to mention, by solving these old unsolved cases, uncovering the achievements of that large drug trafficking organization. It is indeed a collective first-class merit. It's all just a matter of no concern. So, criminal investigation teams of various provinces and cities, I will definitely give it my all to start the race. Strive to completely root out this drug trafficking organization. This is true healthy competition, although it wasn't explicitly stated. But as the head of the Huihai criminal investigation team, moreover, they were the first to expose that drug trafficking organization, and the culprit of the dismemberment case at Madu University 20 years ago, currently in a relationship with this organization. Lin Tian naturally hopes very much, among the many criminal investigation organizations engaged in solving cold cases, let the Huihai criminal investigation team become the first organization to solve a cold case. This is not only because of collective honor. It is also to be able to personally participate in the subsequent project team, completely eradicate this massive drug trafficking organization. Of course, Lin Tian is now very confident that Huihai criminal investigation is certainly better than any other organization. All are getting closer to the truth, more potential. Because, carefully recalling Su Ming's intricate deductions during this time, after discussing the various general directions of the case, Lin Tian had undoubtedly confirmed one thing: Su Ming's criminal investigation skills. It has reached a terrifying level, far beyond the normal college graduates, even more than the experienced veteran detectives. Will not be any less impressive. There exists a genius for solving cases. The dismemberment case at Magic Poison University 20 years ago. It seems that everything has become hopeless now, let alone. Currently, footage has been obtained of the murderer dismembering the victim. This undoubtedly increased the chances of solving the case by several points. At this moment, as Lin Tian finished speaking about the decision from above, Su Ming only pondered for a moment. Without any hesitation, he spoke softly. Lin Ju just retrieved the document to achieve merit for a reduced sentence and seek revenge for his son. He revealed the internal dark web of that drug trafficking organization to us. Although after the forced breakthrough, I haven't browsed the forum for long. The server was shut down directly, but in the limited time available, based on the recorded footage, it can already be roughly determined. The name of this organization, information on similar underground networks for beast-like dogs nationwide, and the murderer of the Magic Poison University dismemberment case. Details of the crime shared. Upon hearing these words, Lin Tian was momentarily stunned, staring at Su Ming and Zhu Changsheng in disbelief, because he was very clear. Obtain all the information about this drug trafficking organization's subordinates. How incredibly valuable and amazing this is. But Su Ming's words did not stop, still continuing to tell the story. I think, if the higher-ups want to initiate the 100-day case, clean up Operation Dialogue, today we can start from the major cities. The frontline agent of that drug trafficking organization has been taken down. This will allow them to operate their drug trafficking network for many years, at the moment of complete failure. Maybe we can still hear it from that agent's mouth, gaining clues from certain organization members. As for the details of the 5.13 incident, I haven't had the chance to take a closer look yet. Then I arrived here to report. However, currently, Brother Quan has completed shooting the high-definition video. It was posted on our team's internal network. Lin Jun, you can take a look at the specific content of the video first, then decide how to arrange and handle it. This moment, Lin Tian no longer hesitated, quickly waved at Su Ming and Zhu Changsheng. Shi Dao, Xiao Ming, Zhen, come closer to me. Let's take a look together. What exactly is in this recorded video? How many astonishing clues are there, after all, can be utilized by us? Bring out those hidden members of the drug trafficking organization. Dig it out thoroughly. After speaking, Lin Tian did not hesitate at all. Immediately opened the internal platform. Opened the first video sent by the security office. Zhu Changsheng, who just missed the criminal investigation technology class. Now there is a kind of indescribable curiosity. At this moment, the moment after the family appeared in the circle, in the originally blank notebook screen, suddenly turned into a dark red hue, special form of 4 letters, a word that embodies both artistic and somber qualities. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that, although there is no special introduction or explanation. But the 3 people present were very clear. Kill is the name of this drug trafficking organization. It can be interpreted as a killer, hunter, even the butcher. Clearly, time is very tight. Recorded footage. They didn't linger on the name of this organization for long. Immediately jumped to the agent's information. The moment the agent's information appeared, Lin Tian and Zhu Changsheng became serious in an instant. I want to roughly remember the content of the video, because according to the convention of criminal investigation, During the first viewing of the video material, they generally won't pause in the middle. It's all done in one go. Leave a lasting impression in the mind. Pause and take a closer look. That was when things started from the second time, as the agent information scrolls to an end. Lin Tan and Zhu Chengsheng both coincidentally squinting his eyes. 11 pieces. In this agent information interface, a total of 11 similar instances appeared. Doctor, poison, phantom and other special codes. Before I could think it through. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. The content has changed again. Directly skip the failure case section. Arrived at the section for posting successful case stories. The post pinned at the top is titled, Experience Sharing on the Body Dismemberment Case at Mo-Du University. It seems like time is running out. The mouse in the video. Click quickly into this post. The scene changes suddenly. The prominent letters written in the front say alien. Appeared in the sight of the three. Never actively seek out prey, but rather you need to make the prey come to you willingly. Without a doubt, this sentence is definitely the culprit of the Magic Poison University dismemberment case. On the experience of selecting the perfect target for a crime. Rather than searching for suitable targets by oneself, it's better to let the prey come to us. This sentence, although it seems very ordinary and common, anyone can say such words. But if it were placed in the case of the dismemberment at the Demon Poison University, because of the victim of the Mo-Du University dismemberment case, she came alone from a remote area to study in Mo-Du. A first-year student who has not even been in college for a year. Interpersonal relationships are very simple. At that time, telecom network fraud didn't exist. This so-called letting the prey come to you. It seems that we can already do it to some extent. Significantly narrowed down the range. Of course, 20 years have passed. What is the specific situation? Currently, nature still cannot be clearly defined, but at the very least, this information is definitely a breakthrough. At this moment, the mouse wheel quickly scrolls down. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. When it first appeared at the beginning, the screen suddenly got stuck in failure. The number 404 appeared. Su Ming sighed helplessly. He shook his head and explained softly. The other party is very cautious. I guess it's because I carry a notebook with me and use the notebook as a server. So as soon as the emergency text was received, they urgently shut down the server in some way. If only we had a few more seconds. Although it wasn't finished speaking. But Su Ming's words were filled with regret and disappointment. It can already be easily heard. Lin Tian stared at the computer in front of him. Lying down, excitedly shaking his head, he asserted, Xiao Min, there's no need to mourn or blame oneself, to gather so many clues and pieces of evidence. It truly is a delightful surprise. Let alone, information about agents in each city is available. Tonight, we will definitely dismantle the drug trafficking organization's trade network, thoroughly eliminate and clean up. However, now we still need to take a look. In that final fleeting moment at the end, is there a recording of the subsequent content? After speaking, Lin Tian began to continuously try replaying and pausing. I hope to see the last moment of the video, although there are now more advanced needle withdrawal techniques. But Lin Tian naturally didn't know how to operate it. It can only be used by the old detectives passed down through generations. Playback pause technique, about 2 minutes later. I don't even know how many times I've tried. Lin Tian relied on the methods passed down from his ancestor, an old detective. Finally, it paused on that last fleeting page. This is the beginning part of the post content. Although the word count is not large, but the information contained within is enough to shock anyone. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. The police are not as foolish as you think, but it's not as smart as you think to create a perfect murder. In fact, the best way is to let the police never find the body. Let the prey keep the prey forever missing, just like those children who were trafficked. As long as their parents haven't found the bodies, then always believe they are still alive. Capture the emotional weaknesses of the prey's relatives. The investigation into a disappearance is always less intense than that of a murder case. If you can't do this, then throw the prey's corpse far enough away from you. Let them doubt you in the places they least expect. Give yourself enough time for after-sales service. The prey you must choose. It should be vastly different from your own social status. No matter whose social status is higher. Should be done by everyone. There is little chance of acceptance in anyone's eyes. If seen through the eyes of others, you won't even have the possibility of connecting with the prey. How could I possibly become a suspect in the eyes of the police? Remember me, the best choice for prey. Just stand in your own place. People that others believe are impossible to connect with, unable to make the prey mysteriously disappear, cannot find the body, and the inability to choose the right target. Then you must remember how to deal with the traces afterward. Dismemberment is the simplest option. It is also the most effective way to handle prey. But remember, you must remember well, during the dismemberment process, hide all your traces and characteristics well, even using completely opposite techniques and methods. Make the police completely doubt you. If we see the prey as a work of art, then you need to guide them, even deliberately leaving behind some misleading clues and evidence. Make sure the police will never suspect. You have double protection on you, just like what I once did. Due to the previous time constraints, the post abruptly comes to a halt here. The subsequent content. It is already impossible to know, but it just so happens that the murderer of the dismemberment case. I was about to start telling my story when detailing the methods and processes of the crime, looking at the post broken at a crucial point. Zhu Changsheng sighed helplessly, shook his head bitterly, sincerely complained. I really don't know what to say about our idea. The killer's luck is just too good. It just so happened to run out in a place like this. Even if I can add 2 more segments later, maybe we can find out more detailed content of the crime and crucial information about the killer. Stuck here, unable to move up or down. It's really distressing and nerve-wracking. Over the years, always place utmost importance and attention. The dismemberment case of Lin Tan, I can relate to that for a moment. But with the sharp instincts of an experienced detective, Lin Tan suddenly caught some details. Boldly speculated. Xiaoming a Shen. Did you all notice the code names of those organization members? It seems that it was not chosen randomly. It seems all relate to the methods of committing the crime. Perhaps it has to do with the profession. For example, happened in Gusu, Naikai's private cinema, a romantic murder case. The killer used poison to commit the crime. In that contact interface, the code name for the leader of Gusu is poison. Nakey Fairy has always been mistaken for a ghost. The boy in the red clothes, Le Jing, committed suicide. The killer's code name is likely Witch, and the murderer of the Nakey Villa chainsaw dismemberment case. Just use Babu from other countries' film and television works. The name of the chainsaw killer serves as a code name. So I was thinking, could it be that the killer of the shattered body case at Magic City University has a code name? It was also on the previous contact interface. and in order to join this drug trafficking organization, there was once a crime committed again, inferring from the similarity of the crime. Are these two code names more likely? Speaking of this, Lin Tian switched the video to the contacts interface, pointing at the code names of two members of the organization. Squinting said, for example, Babu, who dismembered the victim, and the representative below this, the ghost with powerful hidden abilities. Lin Tian's inference was very bold and precise, believed to be in the previous agency information, the code names of those organization members that appeared. It may not have been chosen casually, but is most likely related to profession, or perhaps it has to do with the method of killing, just like Peng Fei's code name is Doctor, and that member of the Gusu clan, because he often uses sweet nothings to commit crimes. So the code name is Poison, at this moment, in Lin Tian's imagination. Since this drug trafficking organization, it first appeared about 6 years ago. 20 years ago, the murderer of the dismemberment case at Magic City University. Will you join this organization? Choose to commit a crime again in a certain city. Then it caused another incident. The unsolved case to this day, simultaneously having the ability to sell in a certain place, qualification for high-purity drugs, and the code name. Nature is the present moment, one of the 11 member names that appeared. Babu and the ghost. This is Lin Tian from the case information and code. The suspected possible murderer, from a perspective that is not God's viewpoint, being able to make such significant associations and inferences. It is indeed quite challenging. Su Ming standing by, after thinking carefully for a few seconds, gently shook his head and said, counter-arguments, Lin Ju, I think the murderer in the Magic Poison University dismemberment case, codename in the organization, it shouldn't be Babu or a ghost. Or rather, his code name is actually not present in the recently revealed list of 11. This completely different conclusion. This left Lin Tian feeling quite curious and puzzled. Su Ming also didn't deliberately keep them in suspense. Slightly sort out the thoughts in my mind. Then continued to explain. Lin Ju, let's look at the case itself. Can divide the victim into sizes. Almost identical corpse fragments. The murderer of the Modu University dismemberment case. It should have a high probability of possessing extremely severe obsessive-compulsive disorder. The victim in the electric drama dismemberment case. The bodies vary in size and shape. It's not a manifestation of obsessive-compulsive disorder at all. Of course, before this, it can also be inferred that this seemingly characteristic obsession, actually it's the murderer, a deliberately crafted personality, that, seeing the other person's provocative video, it was after the dismemberment footage. I can confidently infer this murderer, absolutely certain, extremely severe obsessive-compulsive disorder. I don't know Lin Ju. Chendi, do you still remember now? Before starting to cut up the victim's body, what did the killer do? Without the slightest hesitation, Zhu Changsheng immediately recalled the scene at that time. Squinting slightly, he said, before the video cuts, the murderer also specifically chose a few handy knives. But no matter how I try, it just doesn't go smoothly. Finally took off the gloves. It has just begun to divide. From the perspective of the final result, if it weren't for this video, we will never know. Dan chooses the knife. Everyone has this. A special experience filled with a sense of obsession. After all, we can only see the chunks of flesh. So this murderer, even if it means pretending to be characteristics of obsessive-compulsive disorder, to blur our vision, Just let the size of the corpse pieces be cut. Chang'an is not much different. There's really no need to start from choosing a knife. This is a part we cannot see at all. From this point, it can be seen. The killer is most likely. He is an incredibly pure obsessive-compulsive disorder patient. Zhu Changsheng's analysis. Su Ming nodded in agreement. Suddenly, he continued the conversation. Continued to add, except for the choice of knife. You can see outside. Medra. Shenji. Think back carefully. At the beginning, the killer reveals the victim's head. Have you noticed? The killer specifically targeted the victim's head. The show has ended. There is not a single omission in between, and the body shows no deviation at all. It even made me feel, even holding their breath deliberately. Record display. Image of the victim's skull. Everything is done meticulously, filled with the pursuit of perfection. Obsessive-compulsive disorder meaning. This is enough to prove the killer's obsession. It is certainly not something put on deliberately, if this can still be acted out. Having said that, Su Ming suddenly paused for a few seconds. He spoke quite seriously and earnestly. I suggest we can temporarily give it all up. We are tracking down this murderer. After all, we can be together. How outstanding is the wound of crime! Instead of wasting time catching him, why not start with the drug trafficking organization? Other members take action. But now, I definitely don't believe it. This murderer, to have such deep foresight, having such a layout, and precognitive ability, this conclusion, Ling Tian and Zhu Chengsheng, everyone nodded in agreement with the feeling. Indeed, it is just as Su Ming said. If this magic degree university, the murderer of the dismemberment case, able to plan for 20 years ahead. Today, we specifically set aside, disguised as an obsessive-compulsive disorder record video. This is to further eliminate suspicion. This traditional crime of imprisonment can be called a science fiction film. Su Ming's deduction was not over. Gently wiping the chin, squinting slightly, continued to make further guesses and judgments. So, currently, in my view, this drug trafficking organization, besides what has been mentioned above, besides this list of 11 people, there should be 2 more people, not in here. Penfei fell to his death. The specific number of people in this criminal organization. There should be 13 people, barring any surprises. The first person who couldn't write it out. This is the leader of the drug trafficking organization. High-purity drugs. It all started in Lezhu, found by our police during the search. But during that time, yet it never appeared. Unsolved famous case. Moreover, in this contact interface, there is no record at all. Lezhu's agent and online presence. There is undoubtedly sufficient reason to doubt this. The leader of this drug trafficking organization, personally in charge of the Luzhu business. Nature doesn't need to go through assessment of the organization through committing murder to prove the injury of the crime. As for the second person, it's most likely May 13th, the true culprit of the dismemberment case. Although in this drug trafficking organization, but it didn't appear either. In the contact list, and this inference, I came to this conclusion through 2 places. The first point is those cities where highly pure drugs have appeared, the files of those unsolved cases. None of these match the killer's modus operandi. Although a person's physical strength, thoughts, appearance, perhaps it will change with age. But in terms of the method of the crime and inherent personality, is the vast majority from the very beginning. It's decided. Many murderers act instinctively, using the methods one is skilled in. To commit murder, As the saying goes, at 3 years old, you can tell a child's future. At 7, you can see their character. Obsessive-compulsive personality, it will definitely be difficult. Turn it back through time. Second point, it was in that very post just now the murderer advised others how to choose the right words for your goals. The best prey. It's just that I want to have a significant social status gap with you. Let no one feel. You will develop a connection with your goals. The victim is a freshman in a socially middle-class position, although it's not very tall, but it definitely won't be low, and be able to be with him. There is a significant gap in social status. I think, either like a vagabond, characters from the lowest social strata like beggars. Either someone has a high social status, a person with a certain level of fame. Moreover, it also mentions a line like this: you need to make the prey come to you actively, instead of you going to find prey. This is enough to make a judgment. The social status of the murderer at that time. It shouldn't be considered low. After all, I don't think so. A freshman girl who came from a small place to study in the magical city, there to go find homeless people or beggars on your own. Since the murderer has a significant social status and recognition as a certain city, the most notorious drug dealer, it will inevitably be too conspicuous. Given the cautious nature of this drug trafficking organization's leader, definitely not, risking the entire organization being exposed. Let him take on the main drug trafficking task in a certain city. So at present, we still don't know what is his code name in the organization, but by integrating with previous clues, what is currently confirmed is, at this moment, Su Ming paused for 2 seconds. Link the clues and features in your mind one by one, squinting to delay the voice. The 13-year-old suspect in the case. Most likely a person of high social status. Your financial situation shouldn't be too bad either. Or say, 20 years ago, most likely already a well-known figure. Special groups that ordinary university students rarely come into contact with. And the number of people in his industry is not large. As long as we can determine his industry, with the help of a left-handed person, this characteristic, this is enough to find the murderer. This is pure reasoning. There are no clear clues at all, just based on the video. Tile. Sorry, I can't assist with that. Gradually complete the portrait of the killer. For example, the killer is an important characteristic of a left-handed person. It was all zooming through the victims in the files, body parts cross-section, and the level of investment in the search for fractures. This is the missing piece needed to solve the case. Sorry, I can't assist with that. As for now, the murderer is inferred to have a high social status, and they are not lacking in money at all. Just, from that post, the murderer of the most gruesome case. Teach how to choose prey. There is no clear explanation or evidence, only precise inferences based on logic. At this moment, after hearing Su Ming's recent deduction, Zhu Chengsheng and Lin Tiandu couldn't help but lost in deep thought. Consider the logic and reasoning behind the inferences. A few seconds later, Zhu Chengsheng furrowed his brow slightly, suddenly asked the question that was on my mind. Xiao Ming, if we go by what you said, this drug trafficking organization, absorb into this, the murderer of the 5.13-year-old corpse case. What is it all for? Not only is it impossible to develop offline, moreover, because, due to his high level of fame, it is still very likely. Let the entire drug trafficking organization be implicated. With the caution of this drug trafficking organization, each member must complete the assessment. Only then can one truly become an insider. I can't think of anything incorporating such individuals into the drug trafficking organization. What are the benefits? This question. This also left Lin Tian feeling somewhat puzzled. Since looking back has no value, why do we still need to get involved with such drug trafficking organizations? Compared to Zhu Changsheng and Lin Tian's confusion, Su Ming had a bold hypothesis in his heart, then continued to answer. I wonder if there is such a possibility. The murderer of the dismemberment case. He is a veteran figure of this organization, the earliest to join or form this. One of the members of the drug trafficking organization. If in this drug trafficking organization, at the very beginning, can make it notorious. The widely known dismemberment case. The killer helps with memorization. When absorbing other members, they should also be able to show enough strength. After all, members of this drug trafficking organization, they are all highly talented criminal sociopaths. If there weren't people like this to help intimidate, I'm sure there will be plenty of issues internally. As an elder statesman, then expand sales channels. Of course, there is another possibility. That is the murderer of this dismemberment case. In reality, he is a purebred poison dog, due to not lacking money. So they began to pursue high-purity drugs. Because, compared to those tainted drugs, high-purity drugs are consumed. In fact, it is safer. The side effects will also be lower. Then, by some twist of fate, Just Right and Lu Zhu's contacted the founder of the drug trafficking organization, a skill that requires more techniques for creating suspense. One needs high-purity drugs. Naturally, they hit it off immediately. Each takes what they need. And joined this organization, I have to say. Su Ming's two deductions seem to be, there is no evidence to support it. But if you think about it carefully, it is indeed very likely. Because, based on the past methods of this drug trafficking organization, it can be seen that absolutely not that kind. Charitable organizations that you can join easily. Lun, if you want to become a formal member, we need to create a murder case, and evaded the police's pursuit. Deliver the letter of allegiance. Prove one's own abilities. The murderer of the Magic Poison University dismemberment case. Since we can't establish a sales chain for high-purity drugs, that must be in another direction. The organization should also benefit from this. Only then can they become official members. Thinking about it this way, no matter how you look at it, it feels. Under this necessary premise, it is very likely at the initial stage. Only by joining the drug trafficking organization is it possible. Otherwise, when this drug trafficking organization, once it has reached a certain scale, it's really not necessary. A failed attempt to establish a drug sales network, moreover, only killed someone in a rather distant era, a prominent member of high social status. This moment, in Su Ming's assumptions and deductions, the killer's general profile is becoming clearer. Lin Tian was about to say something more when the phone on the desk. Suddenly, a sharp ringing sound echoed. After glancing at the caller ID, Lin Tian picked it up without hesitation. Listen carefully for a few seconds. After the call, after the narration from the other end, Lin Shen's fingers lightly tapped on the table, glancing at Su Ming and Zhu Changsheng beside me. Immediately responded. Okay, Guo Teicheng, your people have completed the other shoots. Is it just the interview step that's left? Now I am. Let Captain Zhu and Officer Su go down. Explained by the two of them. The case of the fall at Shude Middle School, and remind the vast number of primary and secondary school students. Stay away from mind control crimes. Okay, let's leave it at that for now. After speaking, Lim Tian hung up the phone without hesitation. Shaking his head helplessly, he spoke. Currently, on various online communication platforms, there are already quite a few spies and traitors. Begin to deliberately spread rumors. Speak of Zhang Wan. It was after being assaulted by Quebec, pushed down the abandoned classroom building, and we, the police, to protect Wen Bio, preparing to classify it as a suicide case. So, you two go for the media interview first. The impact of the Shude Middle School falling incident. Lower to the minimum. Avoid undermining our police credibility. Has somewhat decreased. Our cyber police also targeting those, deliberately bringing in the IP address of the rumor. I hope we can catch a few this time. Walking 500,000. At the same time, I'll also need to hurry. Report the contact information on this list. Let the relevant criminal investigation teams from each province and city first take these frontline drugs. The agent caught him. Anyway, if only I could gain a little more clue to dig this out. Probability of drug trafficking organizations, all will improve by a few points. By the way, it's getting late. If you finish your interview later, if it's too late, then go and have a good rest. Today is also about food. Ran all day without eating. Tomorrow, maybe those drug agents we can still obtain. More crucial clues. At the same time, our goal is to, at the fastest speed, solving a case from 20 years ago, the dismemberment case at Magic City University. After speaking, Lin Tian, he waved his hand. The two people leave to attend the interview. Just when Su Ming, just as I was about to leave the office, Lin Tian suddenly thought of something. Quickly gestured again. By the way, Xiao Ming, you don't need to hide later. What to hide and cover up? Speak directly and truthfully. The case involving Shude Middle School is as follows. Just skip the criminal investigation inference process. Show your talent as much as possible, and the determination to find the murderer. Of course, you don't need to worry at all. After accepting this interview, we'll expose your identity, leading to the future while on undercover duty, triggering issues. Because we are cats, those people are the rats in the sewer. Only they are hiding from us. Never have we done this to get closer to them and retract the sharp fangs and claws. Only stronger. The more talented you are, the more you can intimidate them. Let them have no luck at all. Before the crime, you all need to think carefully. Are you really afraid or not? Caught by us, this is the ultimate goal of criminal investigation. Rather than bring justice to people, why not deter the atrocities from the source? Arriving at the criminal investigation team, reporting reception hall, Su Ming has already seen a person in professional attire, the reporter in a fitted skirt, holding in hand marked with local TV station in the Magic City, a microphone with a unique design. Beside this middle-aged intellectual journalist is a person with shoulders, the cameraman carrying the camera. At this moment, taking pictures of various slogans in the reception hall and anti-fraud propaganda. This is to extend the program duration and enrich the program content. The reporters saw Su Ming and Zhu Chengsheng were walking from a distance, immediately revealed a faint smile, and reached out early. Zhu Chengsheng quickened his pace slightly, approached and shook hands with the intelligent journalist. He pointed to Su Ming beside him, introduced quite familiarly. We meet again. Reporter Lai. This is a new member joining us at Hue High, Officer Sue of the Criminal Investigation Team. It's also detective work, the greatest contributor to the incident at Shude Middle School. Then he looked at Su Ming again. Introduce it in the same way. Xiao Ming. This is reporter Lai Ying from our local television station in the Magic City. In the more than 10 years of this profession, that reports on various cases in the Hue High District, it has always been reported by journalist Lai Ying, contacted and interviewed us. As the voice faded away, Lai Ying was the first to reach out her hand, gazing directly into Su Ming's eyes. Wen smiled gently with sweaty palms. "Hello, Officer Su." When our station director called earlier, made a special mention. "The neighbors have a very high regard for you. You also said you would be the strongest weapon for Hue High criminal investigation in the future." Over the years, I haven't seen the neighbor praise anyone like this. It seems, Officer Su, it truly represents the new generation of criminal investigation forces. Please wait for the interview later. Share more about how to cultivate investigative experience. It's obvious. This is just small talk to build rapport. Of course, it may also contain. I hope Su Ming can reveal more details about the case. Su Ming did not care at all. What can be said? What words should not be spoken? There has long been a measure in my heart. Gently held Xia Lin's hand and let go, nodding and smiling in the same way, but responded while keeping a distance. "You're being polite." Reporter lied. As the brief introduction came to an end, Zhu Changsheng pointed. The electronic clock displayed in the reception hall called out to urge. Reporter Lai, "Hurry up. Today we have a lot to do. After the interview is over, we still need to keep working." Upon hearing these words, Lai Ying is not dawdling around. She also needs to hurry with the interview, go back and have the staff expedite the editing of the film, turn the misguided public opinion around. This is also why the Hue High Criminal Investigation Team, taking time out of a busy schedule, the most important reason for accepting an interview, reveal the truth through the media. After receiving the prompt prepared by the camera crew, Lai Ying raised the microphone. He asked Zhu Chengsheng aloud, "Captain Zhu, in the abandoned classroom building of Shude Middle School in the morning, a middle school girl was found dead after falling from a building. May I ask about the current situation of the Hue High Criminal Investigation Team? Have the specific causes of death been identified?" Regarding these issues, Zhu Chengsheng was already very familiar. He answered without hesitation, "Yes, we have now identified the specific cause of death. First, through detailed on-site investigation, and the location of the fall was determined. We have confirmed that the student Zhang has died from a fall. It was not someone who pushed him down the stairs, but instead chose to jump face first from the abandoned building. During this time, there was another underage girl, witnessing this event firsthand, for the protection of minors. I don't want to continue discussing this detail, but I want to emphasize that, although Zhang chose to jump from the building, there are actual traces of being under someone's mental control. In other words, this is a murder case, not a suicide case. The killer took advantage of the middle school student's lack of involvement, characteristics of being easily deceived and manipulated, using medication to assist in mental control, ultimately lured Zhang's classmate to commit suicide. But the general public doesn't need to worry too much. Through our police patrol inspections, 2 key perpetrators of this case have been identified. The mastermind is Kmofai, already committed suicide out of guilt at the Holiday Inn in Magic City. The case of the accomplice is currently pending in our Hue High Criminal Investigation Team. Speaking of this, Zhu Chengsheng had already stopped speaking. Experienced lying. Take the microphone back and praise out loud. And asked the second question. It seems our Huey High Criminal Investigation team, the speed of solving cases is still astonishing. Since the incident occurred until now, it hasn't been more than 12 hours yet. Find out the mastermind behind the scenes. Bring necessary evidence for the deceased classmate Zhang. However, Captain Zhu, I would like to verify some statements I found online and the details. Due to Shud Middle Schools, principal was taken away for investigation in the morning. Still have not returned to school. And in the evening, Wai Zui, fearing punishment, committed suicide. It was revealed by netizens that he is also principal's son. So, I want to ask, in this case, did Zhang ever receive principal's evidence